this thing out. This meeting is called to order. This is the special closed session, which will go right into the closed session. This meeting is being held in the council chambers, which are open for public attendance and participation. The meeting also be live streamed for public viewing, but not participation at link identified in the agenda. Email comments sent and received by the city clerk at least 24 hours prior to tonight's meeting were distributed to city council. Can I have a roll call?
Mayor Shaw.
Here.
Vice Mayor Boomgarden. Here. Councilmember Cole.
Here.
Councilmember Kirchner. Present. Councilmember Pasquale.
Here.
All right, Mr. Auctioneer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. We have one item for closed session this evening. It is public employee appointment of appointment/employment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, title Permanent City Manager. I do not anticipate that there will be any reportable action taken. Thank you.
Thank you. Any public comment? Hearing none, we will move into closed session.
And just for the record, we will be coming back at approximately 5:45 to reopen the other special meeting.
Gotcha.
So we'll need at least 3 city council members for that. Thank you.
All right, we will call the special meeting back to order. Mr. Chaffin, do we have any reportable actions from closed session this evening?
Thank you, Mayor. There was no reportable action taken in closed session.
All right. Then there are no other, anything before us with the special meeting, so I am going to adjourn the special meeting that started at 5 p.m. tonight. We are adjourned. And now, make sure where I'm at. Got to go back here. I'm going to call to order the regular meeting of the City Council. This meeting is being held in the council chambers, which are open for public attendance and participation. This meeting will be live streamed for public viewing and not participation at the link identified in the agenda. Email the comments sent and received by the city clerk at least 24 hours prior to tonight's meeting were distributed to City Council. Can I have roll call, please?
Mayor Shaw.
Here.
Vice Mayor Boomgarden.
In the Sutter room?
Councilmember Cole.
Here.
Councilmember Kirchner.
In the Sutter room?
Councilmember Pasquale.
Here.
All right, Mr. Chaffin, will you read our closed session agenda items for tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have one item for closed session. It's liability claim. Claimant is Harjinder Singh Gill, claimant number 2535. Agency claimed against is the city of Yuba City. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any public comment on the closed session item? Seeing none, we will move into closed session. Thank you. All right. We're going to call this regular meeting of the City Council to order. This council meeting is being held in the council chambers, which is open for public attendance and participation. The meeting is also being live streamed for public viewing, but not participation at link identified in the agenda. Emailed comments sent and received by the city clerk at least 24 hours prior to the meeting were distributed to the council prior to tonight. Can I have a roll call again, please?
Mayor Shaw.
Here.
Vice Mayor Boomgarden.
Present.
Councilmember Cole.
Here.
Councilmember Kirchner.
Here.
Councilmember Pasquale.
Here.
All right. If you will stand, tonight we're going to have our invocation given by Chris Fincham, who is a Yuba City PD chaplain, and our pledge will be led by Councilmember Pasquale. So, Chris.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time together. God, we pray that you would guide this meeting. Lord, we thank you that your word tells us if anyone lacks wisdom, we can ask of you, and you give it to us in abundance. And so, Lord, I pray for our council. I pray that you would give them wisdom, clarity, and guidance as they lead our city. God, I pray for those of us that are citizens of the city that we would just do a good job loving people well and being just a real good citizen and supporting what is happening in this community. Lord, I pray you'd protect this community. I thank you for our first responders. And God, I ask that you would guide them even tonight as we're here. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to your republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
You may be seated. Chris, thank you. All right, Mr. Chaffin, do we have anything to report out of the regular closed session tonight?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's one action item on liability claim closed session A. City Council authorized notice of rejection. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any agenda modifications by the council tonight? Okay. Seeing none, we're going to move right into the ceremonial presentations. Tonight, we're going to start off with We Are Yuba City Legacy Awards, and we have two of them tonight. So, Don, if you and Cindy and the family would like to come down front, we're going to start with the Applegarth family and Don's Furniture Warehouse. And council, we can join down front. Thank you. Mark, you still got a free hand? Did you have one? Can you work with that one? Got it. Oh. It is working. So thanks for being here tonight, guys. We started this, Christy, what, about a month ago, 2 months ago? Brand new awards. And we like to recognize businesses that have been in our community, that have given back to our community and made an impact on our community. So tonight, you're our first awardee. So thank you for being here and thank you for letting us honor you. So I'm going to read this, but I kind of already know the story, so I may ad-lib. Do I have your permission? Absolutely. All right. There once was a story about, no. Yeah. One time. So anyway, so here we are. We Are Yuba City Business Spotlight and Legacy of Service Awards. The We Are Yuba City Awards honors local businesses that demonstrate exceptional service, longstanding commitment, and a positive impact on our community. And tonight, we are proud to recognize two outstanding recipients who embody the heart and spirit of Yuba City. The first one is Don's Furniture. Don's Furniture has been a trusted family-owned business in Yuba City for decades, proudly serving the community at the same location since 1964, when Don's grandfather, Tom Applegarth, first opened Franklin Furniture, and then Don's parents, Richard and Janice Applegarth, took over the store in 1972, expanded it to 2 buildings, and continued operating it until their retirement in 1982. Carrying on the family legacy, Don Applegarth took over as the business in 1986 at just 21. You were a young guy, weren't you? Wow. And continuing operations at the long-standing Applegarth location. Don and Cindy got married in 1990 and have worked together in the family business ever since, building meaningful relationships with generations of local customers. For more than 60 years and 4 generations, the Applegarth family has provided Yuba City with quality, affordable furniture and warm, personal, family-oriented service. And their deep commitment to the community includes supporting numerous local events, charities, and organization, because it goes a lot further than just the furniture. So you guys were proudly voted Best Furniture Store 6 years in a row, and Don's Furniture remains a beloved hometown staple with a shining example of Yuba City's enduring commitment and spirit. So with that, we would like to present this to you. If you want to give it to him, Mark, it'd probably be easier. It's just a way for us to say thank you. Thank you for the investment that the family has made in Yuba City over all the decades. And we wish you great success for another 50 years. You might be old by then. So would anyone else like to say anything?
You know, it's a fixture in the community, and it's one of those places that people go and they know, and you guys have given back to the community. I don't know if everyone knows this. There was a fire on Plymouth Street, and one of the local businesses was put out of business. They relocated. They graciously have allowed those folks to come in to be open for Christmas. I mean, this is business helping business. So to me, that's kind of the highest high right there. Yep. There you go.
I'd just like to say thank you for your continued service and making our community a better place. Thank you.
Would you guys like to say anything?
I've been in this community my whole life, and my wife has shopped there. I've shopped there. My grandparents have shopped there. So yeah, thank you for starting that business so many long ago. So Good luck to you.
Tony, anything? And I'll just wrap it up that this is an honor. I've known you a long time. I've known your family. I think we all have known your family and the commitment you've had to this community. And proud to call you friends. I'm glad to honor you tonight, and I'm glad that you've invested in Yuba City. So thank you, sir. Okay. Would you like to say anything, or?
Not a lot. It's an honor to be here this evening. My dad would be proud.
Thanks, guys. Cindy, thank you. Don. Pages to this? Or? Oh, that's fine. Got it. All right. Well, there he is in the front row. The second business that we want to recognize tonight is Yuba City Racquet Club. And Mr. Pete Backus, would you join us up here? Would you like to try to do this again? Yeah. You got it? Welcome. Good to see you, Judy. Thank you. All right. So again, following suit, we look at businesses that have been a staple of this community that has given far more back to the community than just, what goes on within the four walls of the business. The Yuba City Racquet Club began operation in the 1970s when founder Judy Jacoby, who's with us tonight, rallied local families of all things to bring more tennis opportunities to the community. And boy, did it take off. With a strong support, Yuba City Racquet Club opened in 1975 and grew quickly into a full-service fitness and recreation center. A true Yuba City success story is right here in Mr. Pete Backus at Yuba City Racquet Club. Pete actually started cleaning the facility and has worked his way all the way to the top through dedication and leadership, and you're now the owner. You've been the owner for a lot of years now. So, your brother, Mike Backus, serves as the general manager, overseeing the day-to-day operations and ensuring members feel welcomed and supported. Over the years, Yuba City Racquet Club expanded to include the Rancho Cortez Annex for tennis and summer programs, as well as a beloved kids club offering childcare and licensed after-school care. These additions have helped Yuba City Racquet Club grow from a local tennis club into a thriving multi-sport community destination. Nearly 50 years later, Yuba City Racquet Club remains a cherished gathering place where generations stay active, connect, and grow a lasting Yuba City legacy built on passion, family, and community spirit. And with that, Pete, we would like to present you with this as a reminder that we believe in what you're doing down there. And just totally going off script here, I've been friends with you a long time, and what you do to impact this community, Yuba City Racquet Club has just been the conduit for that. Because you can look around from sports programs in the area to the kids to adults. It's more about making an impact in people's lives than just getting us all in there and getting the weight off the treadmill, trust me. You go way beyond how you affect this community with so many things. So I want to say thank you for your continued investment in this community, not only through the Racquet Club and all the other businesses, because you could do business anywhere in the world and anywhere in the U.S., but you chose Yuba City. So for me, thank you very much. Mark?
Well, first to Judy, congratulations on starting the business and keeping it and keeping it going. Pete Back is truly a champion of the community. You may not know it, but behind the scenes, he's not terribly, tremendously, yeah. Yeah, thanks, Pete. What I meant to say was that he's a super champion for our community. And, he's, both of you, thank you so much for what you have done and what you will continue to do. Very much appreciate it.
So I was just there today. But thank you for everything that amenity that you do provide our community. Thank you for the decision to pivot during the shutdown and to continue doing a service. That was noticed and appreciated. Thank you very much for that. I've known Mike. We went to Lincrest together. I think we walked to school to Lincrest together. So I can remember participating in the gym back when I was going to school at Lincrest as well. So thank you for everything you provide and you contribute to our community. Thank you.
Yeah, this gentleman, he is a quiet giver. I know that for a fact. He just stays out amongst us and engages when he has to. And just as a personal note, I found my 1986 membership card, and I don't know what happened to that guy. He disappeared somewhere in the world. Yes.
Well, thank you both so much for all you've done for our community. I know Pete personally from the school where I work. He was on the school board for a long time, but I would again echo what everyone else has said. I respect and admire your story, first of all, but also your work ethic and just the service you've given to so many. So thank you both.
I didn't know how this would go.
Feels like an Oscar moment here. Let me see. I'd like to thank the Academy. No.
I just want to say, on behalf of our founders, Judy Jacoby, with her incredible vision, Dr. Jerry Toller and his wife Dolores Toller, who helped Judy build the club, from our fantastic management team and team members, from our club members, many thousands, I want to extend to the City Council and to the community our heartfelt gratitude and honor to be recognized tonight. I'm incredibly grateful for the support of the community that it has shown us over the 50 years. No business could survive a 50-year milestone without strong community leadership and support. It's been foundational to our success. We remain committed to the community and Yuba City, and we look forward to many more years of mutual growth and success. And I want to thank the city manager and everybody involved and our community for this great honor. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, while you're still up there, I just wanted to make sure that Pete spoke, but I wanted to provide the last word. So Pete, in the interest of full disclosure, the city council members asked me, based upon our time together at Yuba City High, they asked me to add some color to the proclamation, and I respectfully declined. So I just want to make sure that you knew that, Pete, that I didn't disclose anything at all, and I kept it above board. It goes back to prom dates. I mean, the whole 9 yards. Pete was not my date, but it goes back to prom dates and the whole 9 yards.
And as they say, film at 11.
What's that?
Film at 11.
Yeah, that's true too. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
Pete,
right.
Judy, thank you. Judy, thank you. And Dr. Toller for believing in Pete and everybody else. You guys started a legacy that has impacted lives. So thank you. everybody? Yep. Johnny, come on up and join us. Yeah, here's Johnny. Is this the Tonight Show?
Better than The Shining, that's for sure.
Definitely. First of all, thank you for being here, and thank you for all the hard work you do in our community. You know, you've got a tough job in everything you do, and reaching out and helping the community and administering to the community. I just want to say thank you right out of the chute. So, but tonight we're going to get a report from you in a minute. But we also want to recognize that November 2025 as Homeless Awareness Month. And whereas homelessness is a challenge that has existed in Yuba City and across the state and throughout the nation for many decades, Yuba City partners with numerous public and private agencies to develop solutions to homelessness that address the underlying situations for everyone who finds themselves homeless. Programs such as the Yuba City Police Homeless Liaison Officers, Better Way, Hands of Hope, REST program, and the Coordinated Entry System have been achieving success as collaborative resources added within the last 7 years. They have together increased shelter beds and available housing. We recognize that some people living on the streets are from our own communities who have fallen into hard times or endured difficult situations that carried them into homelessness. And that takes the strength of the whole community to help them regain hope and independence. The people of Yuba City recognize that homelessness continues to be a serious problem for the hundreds of individuals and families in the region, and that we as a community must intervene as long as this struggle continues. So now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Dave Shaw, Mayor of the City of Yuba City, on behalf of the entire City Council, hereby join in recognition of Homelessness Awareness Month and encourage all citizens to be aware that many people do not have housing and need support from residents as well as private and public service entities. So, Johnny, we'd like to present you with this proclamation from the city. Okay? Would anyone else like to say anything? Okay. All right.
Well, I'd like to, for the photo, I'd definitely like to invite some folks up here because being at the center of the Homeless Consortium office, we get to be the face of homelessness, right? But the real work happens from a lot of people that are in the room right now. So I know we have Habitat for Humanity here, Sutter County Superintendent of Schools, Sutter Yuba Behavioral Health, Sutter County Public Health. So if you guys would come up here because you guys are doing it. If I missed anybody, if anybody's hiding in the back there, we definitely want. But it is a collaborative effort. We're so thankful to the City of Yuba City for recognizing the need and assisting and putting finances and all kinds of things in there. So thank you for this. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Let's give him a hand. Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Got it. All right, continuing on, he's already there at the podium. Now it's time for the Homeless Consortium's annual update. Mr. Burke, you have the podium, sir.
All right, thank you so much. And I know you have a lot on your agenda tonight, so we'll try and fly through some things very quickly. Obviously, this is National Homelessness Awareness Month, as you just proclaimed, and your counterparts right across the river are doing the same thing right now, where the city of Marysville is doing a proclamation as well. But you guys RSVP'd first, so you get the presentation, and they won't know anything about homelessness until we talk to them next month. So wanted to give you some updates, and I am so thankful at our State of Homelessness Summit just a couple weeks ago to have 3 of the 5 council members. You were the largest represented municipal group group there, and so thankful to have you there to be able to hear the updates and hear the presentations and the panels that we had there, to hear from our new Youth Advisory Board, our domestic violence panel, the Sutter County One Stop and Yuba County One Stop presentations, and hear some updates. So some of these numbers you're familiar with, but maybe the rest of the crowd and anybody else watching online might not be. But we just released our point in time count numbers that were from January of this year. Point in time count is done every 2 years, where we go out and do a survey with everyone who's experiencing homelessness in Yuba and Sutter counties, both sheltered and unsheltered. And so we saw a drop, we saw an improvement, and it's a great thing. And so our total number for both counties combined was 830 individuals, which is still a lot of people. So I don't want to negate the fact that we have 830 people that we found during that week that were homeless, but our numbers went down. That's a 14% decrease from 2 years ago for our area. Sutter County, we had 393. That's down from 418 2 years ago. So we had a 6% decrease on this side of the river, a little bit larger decrease on the other side of the river. But this is good news. And we did have a couple things that contributed to that. We had a extremely cold and windy day, was our primary counting day, so that made for a little bit of a challenge. We did have more folks that probably were in jail due to the passing of Prop 63 at the beginning of the year. But I believe that through all the efforts of all the different organizations that are working so hard to assist people, that we saw at least that 14% decrease. I estimate at least 6 to 8% will be from positive efforts, and possibly higher. Hard to say sometimes overall, but we definitely saw some different changes. I highlighted these stats here when we were at this summit, but for those of you who haven't seen them, we have started the last couple point in time counts asking people, what city did you become homeless in? And then what city do you consider to be home? So the number on the left is for Sutter County, and of the 393 individuals that we contacted and talked to or did a observational survey on, 193 said, hey, I became homeless in Yuba City. So of the bottom, you'll see 86 people declined or no answer given. The great majority of those weren't so much declined as they were people that maybe we did observation counts on, like when we go to the river bottoms and there's a tent that doesn't want to open up and we can tell there's 2 or 3 people inside. Maybe some folks staying in a car that don't want to open the door or talk to you, but you can see 2 or 3 people inside. So the great majority of those that are declined or no answer given are from folks that we couldn't actually talk to, that we could just count. But you can see that over half said, hey, I became homeless in Yuba City, which always highlights the fact that when we see folks around on the streets, they are our neighbors, they are residents here, and I think everyone's aware of that, but it's always good to take a look and see. We did see an increase in the number of people that said they became homeless in Live Oak, so that was new information too, and then we had a spattering of people in other areas too on this side of the river. For the question of what city do you consider home, we may have had 193 people say I became homeless in Yuba City, but we had 217 that said I consider Yuba City home. So that means that if someone became homeless and came here from somewhere else, or they, whatever the case may be, they want to live here, they want to be here, and they want to thrive. I don't believe they want to stay homeless here. So that tells us we need to continue to help them to get housing, to get addressing things like substance use issues, the mental health problems, whatever the case may be, get them sheltered, get them into housing, and let them become a productive member of the community. And so always good to know and see how many people are saying, yeah, this is where maybe I became homeless, but this is where I live. This is my home now. And so how do we help them succeed? And housing is a big part of that. I shared these numbers. So the point in time count, it's a snapshot. And I think years ago, John Flo, who many of you know, worked for Sutter County Public Health for years. He always used to say that point in time count is like going to Walmart. If I was to ask everybody in the audience, have you been to Walmart this month? I think every hand would be raised. But if I asked you, did you go to Walmart today? Maybe we'd only get about 20, 30%. And point in time count is like that. It doesn't tell you how many people are homeless for the entire year in your area. And so the numbers that you see up on the screen there, those are bi-county numbers, so those aren't Sutter County or Yuba City specific, but we track over a calendar year how many folks come through coordinated entry. And coordinated entry is not just Hands of Hope on Spiva or Life Building Center in Marysville. Coordinated entry includes Sutter Yuba Behavioral Health, who we had Emily Wood from the Heart team here earlier, who goes out and engages people on the street. So they may not come into a brick and mortar coordinated entry site, but they are getting services, they're doing an intake, they're getting in and getting referrals out in the field. Coordinated entry includes people that would be over at maybe Freed and wouldn't come into one of the coordinated entry sites. It includes those who have been touched by any of the street nurse teams that are out there, primarily the Harmony Health street nurse team. So there's a lot of folks that outside the four walls of coordinated entry touch people, get them in the system, and get referrals going to be able to try and help them along their journey. And so we track all those folks. And so these numbers are calendar year numbers from 2020 and up. I will tell you 2020 numbers I include those just for historical reference because that's when we started uploading our data to the state for what they call their HDIS system. But they're not great numbers because not everybody was included. So if you look and go, man, that's a massive increase from 2020 to 2021, it's mostly a data issue. So I like to focus on 21 and up. And you can see that calendar year 21, we had almost 2,700 people that touched coordinated entry in the course of a year. That means that for at least one day, they were homeless. So that's a lot bigger than the 830 I just mentioned. And then in 2022, went up to over 3,200 people. 2023, 3,651. And then last year dropped 3,383. And we believe it's going to drop again this year. It's kind of hard to tell because there's a lot of data cleaning that goes at the end of the year when we submit our numbers. We usually don't get them back from the state of California until probably about June of next year. But we are trending in the right direction finally from 23 to 24, and we think we're going to see the same. When you look 23, 24, you will also see new to homelessness for the first time drop from 23 to 24, and actually from 22 to 24, the average length of times that someone remained homeless dropped. Those are all good things. Underneath that, and by the way, all these stats on the screen, this is what the state of California is now evaluating us on, because the big buzzword of the state has become the word accountability. State legislators have seen billions of dollars go into homeless services over the last 5 or 6 years to the state of California and have not seen dramatic results like they expected. So now they have accountability measures where if you receive funding through the state of California, you must meet some of these measures and show improvements to be able to get your second half of the funding the state offers every year. So we are doing good in all categories right now, just about. The next one, the number of unsheltered persons, they base that on our point in time count. Our new number that's going to be registered now that's filed with HUD will be 528 unsheltered people. That's the lowest number since 2020. That is a very, very good thing. The rest of the state of California cannot state that. Once again, these are by county numbers, so that's not just Yuba City, that is both counties combined. And then increasing the number of people exiting homelessness and permanent housing, that dropped a little bit last year, primarily because we didn't have any new housing places open up. But very excited about what's happening in Yuba City over the next couple of years as we see Merriment Village that's going to be built, and when all 3 phases are done, it's going to be over 200 people. When we see Richland Village being built by Regional Housing, we're going to see over 130 folks, or 130 units, I should say. It'll actually be more people in both of those locations. So very excited to see that number of people exiting into permanent housing going up over the next couple years. And then percentage of people who return to homelessness within 6 months of exiting to permanent housing, that bumped up a little bit last year. We're hoping that doesn't continue to bump up. We want that to go in the opposite direction. We want people to become housed and stay housed. Last stat slide I'll throw at you. Like I said, I'm trying to go fast because I know you guys have a lot of stuff. I saw the word budget in your agenda, so I know you guys have lots of stuff to talk about later on. We track the number of intakes at the coordinated entry sites, and we've actually split them into the Spiva location, which is here in Yuba City, and the Life Building Center, which is over in Marysville. And so at the top, we've got calendar years 23, 24, and then year-to-date 25, and then projections. So the number of intakes that happen, which is people that are brand new to homelessness for the first time, or they're returning to homelessness where they've been out of our system for more than 6 months with no touches. That number was relatively the same here in Sutter County from 23 to 24. But this year, we're forecasting almost a 20% reduction. That's another good thing. If people aren't returning to homelessness, if they're not become homeless for the first time. Over in Life Building Center on the other side of the river, they're seeing a big drop as well. And then our prevention intakes have gone up just slightly on this side of the river, and that's a good thing. We want that number to be as high as possible because we want to try and catch up to people when they're at that crisis point of possibly becoming homeless and not letting that happen if at all possible. If we can prevent them from becoming homeless and keep them in permanent housing, we will have less people in the streets, and it costs a lot less to keep people in housing when we can grab them when they're at that crisis point. So lots of good things happening that we want to continue to keep the pedal to the metal, keep pushing on new affordable housing projects, keep funding different programs that are assisting people, but wanted to give you the update to let you know about all the good stuff. Brings me to the last slide. If you have any questions, my information is there, which I think you all have, and I probably all have all your cell phone numbers, but if there's any questions or quick blips, I'd be happy to answer them, and I'm so thankful for the time to be able to share this great news with you.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. Is there any questions from the council? Vice Mayor.
Thanks, Johnny. First, a comment on the on the recent meeting that you had. Very well attended, which means that the community is engaged, and I think that speaks to your leadership and those that you work with. Good information. The Youth Advisory Board, impactful, hearing those stories. All of them were impactful. I did have one question, and it's on the number of people access slide.
Yes.
If you can go back to that. Does that...
If I can go back as a question here, do I know
Sarah
to go
can.
back? Ooh, yes, I can do that.
That's the one. So let's just use the calendar year 2024, 3,383 people. Is that 3,383 single contacts, or is that a person might have come in 3 or 4 times and they're counted? How's that?
That is an unduplicated number. So that is 3,383 different people that experienced homelessness for at least one day during last calendar year in our bi-county area.
That's an impactful number.
It's stunning, isn't it? I mean, until we started rolling these numbers out several years ago, we went by point in time count. And that was what everybody said, well, how many homeless do you have? And it was like, okay, we have this homeless in this time. But I often liken homelessness to being at the beach and watching the ocean. The waves roll in and the waves roll out. And you have people constantly coming in to homeless, becoming homeless for the first time, and rolling out at some point into permanent housing. And so this is a much more accurate, and it's really great for us when we're applying for grants to say, hey, we're helping this many people and assisting through all the programs that are happening in our area to be able to continue to bring funding in to be able to address that.
I think the other number that I found interesting was that we hear a lot about, they're busing in all these people. And no, they're not.
No.
There's some, but obviously this isn't a waypoint for other agencies to bring their homeless people to us. I'm sure we are getting some, but your numbers, help I think illustrate that it's a local problem that we can hopefully impact. And you mentioned the different projects that we're trying to get going here. So,
Yeah, great projects coming.
thank you.
Any other questions from the council?
Through the mayor?
Yes, sir.
Just a quick comment. Thank you for the presentation, Johnny. And I'd like to echo what Mark said about the summit. Just amazing. Well attended. The presentation where the person was speaking and you find out at the end that they're no longer with us, that left the room quiet. But it was top notch. And just something really quickly about Johnny Burke. And I gotta put you on the spot a little bit. Couple months ago, when I think about Johnny Burke, I think about responsiveness. He's responsive. I happened to be in Sacramento, and I got a phone call from an individual that was in distress in Marysville. And I'm assuming that she probably found my number on the Yuba City website, but she called me up, and she was obviously having some issues. And so I just said, stay put. And I called that guy right there. And it was taken care of within, it feels like a matter of moments. And not only that, he followed back with me and told me what happened and what was done with it. So thank you for that. And thank you for what you continue to do with our community. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. Hearing none. Johnny, thanks for being here. Thanks for the update, and keep up the good work.
Sure. I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm hoping to hear great news from the Foodbank next. We'll see what happens here.
All right. Keeping with our presentations, we will move to the Yuba Sutter Foodbank and the Executive Director, Ms. Maria Ball. You have the floor, ma'am.
Somehow it's not as cool. Here's Maria. Doesn't work like here's Johnny. I am here to say thank you to this esteemed council for approving $15,000 to be given to the food bank in response to our delay in CalFresh benefits and the federal shutdown. So, as many of you know, the governor basically pointed everybody to their local food banks for relief, and we felt it. The local food banks felt it, and our constituents and community members, there was like a palpable fear and worry, and we mobilized, and this esteemed council responded and provided $15,000 for the food bank. And in response to that, we did have an emergency food distribution, which I will show you a cool video here in a minute. But I'm basically here to say thank you for that. And I wanted to just kind of give you an idea of what the food bank has been doing, and so that you can see how the numbers have increased in who we are serving. So with that, do I just press this little ditty here? Okay, so these are year-over-year numbers. You can see here from year 2022 to 2023, we had a 79% increase in who we're serving. So we went to 152,000 food touches to 272,000. And I say food touches and not individuals. They are individuals, but unlike Johnny, ours are not unduplicated. I can't tell you that the same individual did not visit multiple food pantries or multiple food distributions, because I can tell you right now that they go to a lot. They go to more than one because the need is great. And these, our food pantries and the food bank can only do so much to meet the needs. So this is not unduplicated numbers, but it's still quite a bit of people. From 2023 to 2024, we had a 55% increase in who we're serving. And from 2024 to 2025, we are at least looking at an 11% increase in numbers. So we are serving quite a few people and doing quite a few food touches. So the food bank, we are a small staff. We have 11 people that work at the food bank, and we do 26 direct food distributions ourselves that we facilitate with thousands of volunteers. And then we also partner with 50 partner agencies in Yuba and Sutter counties. So we provide food for those agencies who then provide food for their constituents. So it's a well-oiled machine, and that's how we do this. Okay, so in response to the CalFresh delays, we decided to do a large-scale food distribution on the weekend, on Saturday, in the Kmart parking lot. The Kmart parking lot, I love the Kmart parking lot. I have plans for that Kmart building. I'll just plant that little seed right there. But we decided to do a food distribution on a Saturday for 2 hours. We were supported by the city of Yuba City and many community members. We ramped up, brought a bunch of food out there, and made it available to people. So we served 2,350 individuals that represented 650 families in 2 hours' time. The food distribution started at 10 a.m. People lined up at 4 a.m. for food. 4 a.m. And we had volunteers who felt so sorry for the people waiting for food that they went and got their Blackstone and made breakfast for people. It was Yuba Sutter shows up. In fact, the news channels were there, and that's what I said. I said, hey, this is Yuba Sutter right here. This is what we do for our people. So with that being said, I have a really cool young person that works for me who made a really neat reel, and we're gonna go ahead and show you that with the help of the lovely Sierra right here. Volunteers. Pretty cool, huh? That was awesome. Okay, so part of that money that the city of Yuba City so graciously donated to the food bank, half of that money was earmarked to serve, to help serve our men and women of Beale Air Force Base. with the federal shutdown, although our active military members did receive their pay, there were plenty of federal employees that did not receive their pay, and there was a level of stress there. And also, there is we've talked to the first sergeants at Beale Air Force Base, along with Colonel McLeese. And basically what their goal is in working with the food bank is what they call a budget offset. Because we have a lot of young airmen who are learning how to manage their money and who are trying, like many of us working families in this community and around, that are trying to make ends meet. And it's tough. It's not cheap to live in California. We all know that. And so the Beale Air Force Base partners with the Yuba Sutter Food Bank as a budget offset. They want to provide those resources to their airmen who are struggling, like many of us. And I believe our numbers have gone up the way they have because there are working families who are stretched to the limit, who are making tough choices between, am I going to pay my PG&E bill, or am I going to be able to go to Walmart and get my groceries? So we had a meeting, and you can see some cool pictures here. We are thankful to be a part of what they are making out on Beale Air Force Base. It's going to be called the Airman's Market. So not necessarily a food pantry, but rather an airman's market where they will have food available, much like a food pantry, along with other items that families need, laundry detergent, soap, diapers, wipes, etc., in order to help the airmen budget offset. That's what they're calling it. And so that $7,500 that is earmarked for Beale will go to help with the Airman's Market. This picture up here on the right is actually a pizza place out on base, and that's where it's going to take place, and they're building it right now as we speak. And so, council, you will know that your money is going to help those airmen, and it's in the works right now. We got to talk to Colonel McLeese, and they call them the top three, which is the top three ranks in the Air Force. They are going to be running this Airman's Market, and it's super exciting, and the food bank's going to be a partner. We're going to get food out there, and it's just amazing. So I wanted to share that. It's all quite timely. And so these are the pictures. We'll tell you the CMAC, the Community Military Appreciation Committee. I am a member of that. Sutter and Yuba County and Placer County, we have a Community Military Appreciation Committee, and we are basically community members who want to take care of Beale. And we, it reminds me of that A Few Good Men movie, where they're standing there and they're taking care of us. And you can't handle the truth. It's that, because they are. They're watching over us every day. And they're in our backyard. And we need to be proud of that. So I'm proud as the director of the food bank to be a part of that. So super exciting. Oh, and I can't forget the 300 turkeys that you made possible. So we donated 300 turkeys to the airmen families. Super exciting. Schlepping the turkeys. That's what we do at the food bank. And then this is kind of a schematic of the Airman's Market. Cool little logo there. So it's the real deal. It's happening. And what's exciting is that when leadership moves on every 2 years, this is going to keep going. These relationships that we are building here in this room, they're going to keep going. It's super exciting. I'm passionate about it, if you can't tell. And then I would be remiss not to tell you, the food bank is in the business of food recovery. That's what we do. We keep food out of the landfills. And so we recover groceries and food, even from restaurants, from being thrown away. It's viable food. It comes to the food bank, and we get it out to distribute it to those people. So in 2023, we recovered a little over 1.2 million pounds of food, went up to 1.7 million pounds of food, and now we're going to exceed, we're probably going to be at probably 1.7, 1.8 million pounds of food in 2025 that would have been thrown away. So we are recovering it and distributing it through our partner agencies, and we are super proud of that. And that's it. Thank you very much. Your support means so much to us, and I brought you a little treat. I had little notebooks. Take your little notes. Think of the food bank. Can I answer any questions?
Maria, thank you for being here. And actually, I want you to stay right there.
Okay.
I'd like everyone to join me, and I think this is the best thing that we can do to show our appreciation to Maria and her team.
Oh my gosh. Feed the people. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you. I can't do it without you guys. All
Any
right.
questions or comments from the council?
I just have one. Keep up the great work. Once I get over this, I'm back on that Starbucks thing that we're working at.
Heck yeah.
Not know
Heck yeah.
is that our local Starbucks, God love them, and I'm not going to name the entity, but their excess of food, which is what I will call it, is going to a different community, not inside the Yuba Sutter region.
Right.
And so it was planted in my ear, and I'm on it. We'll see
Yep.
what we
I
can
know
do.
you are. I believe it. Awesome.
Through the mayor.
Yes, sir.
Great presentation. I'm curious what you got planned for the Kmart, so we need to talk about that at some point.
Yeah, I want the Kmart building.
Thank you.
I think the Kmart building needs to be the Yuba Sutter Food Bank. Just saying.
Okay.
Plant that seed.
So I'm lucky enough to be on your
Yes.
board, and thank you for allowing me to be on your board.
Absolutely.
This isn't business as usual. It's not. I think this community in the past, we know we have a food bank. We know we have, we have issues in this area, but this is not business as usual. We had a situation politically where you're not getting the funding that you need, and then on top of that, you have a government shutdown, and these are something that are very difficult to plan for. You guys did an amazing job in pivoting. And just looking at that video, you can see the need. A couple of meetings ago, it was mentioned from this dais that there was a need at Beale, and that families out there were approaching the food bank. We had people in the audience approach us at the conclusion of the meeting saying, "What can we do?" And that just shows you how cool our community is.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for your continued work.
Absolutely.
Anybody else from the dais? Any comments or questions? Maria, keep up the great work. You know where you guys are and in my heart.
Do.
And looking forward to things that's going to keep going, from Starbucks to the Airman's Market to a little thing that's going to happen on Thursday. So
Heck yeah.
just keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I can see a theme already happening with tonight's meeting. It's about making an impact in people's lives. It's neat when you see those. All right, let's move on to public communication. You're welcome and encouraged to participate in this meeting. Public comment is taken on action items appearing on the consent calendar or business items on the agenda when they are called. Public comment on any other items within the scope of the city's jurisdiction, including items not listed on the agenda, will be considered at this time. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Members of the public submitting written requests at least 24 hours prior to tonight's meeting will be allotted 5 minutes to comment per speaker. Repetitive comments may be limited, and large groups are encouraged to select representatives to express the opinions of the group. We did have one written request that came in beyond the 24 hours. Miss Linda Cummings, if you will step to the podium and make sure the mic's on, state your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes. Can we get the microphone, the button there in front of you? Should turn green, I think.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I'm very, very nervous, so bear with me. My name's Linda Cummings. I live on Willow Creek Drive at the north end of Yuba City. After all this positivity, and I have to come here and share an issue with you and ask for your help. This is also my neighbor, Kathy, who also lives on Willow Creek Drive. Those of us who live in the area have had to deal with a noise issue that has continued to get worse over the past 12 months. A resident on Willow Creek Drive decided to buy their teenager a set of drums. These drums are set up in the garage of their home. The noise from the banging of these drums has become unbearable, not only for me, but for many of the residents that live around their residence. This noise is just that, noise, loud, angry, banging noise that happens randomly multiple times every single day. I call it noise as there's nothing musical about it. At first, I hoped it was temporary and would stop, but it hasn't. I began by doing my research as to the appropriate way to solve the problem. My son spoke to the property owner, and it was obvious he wasn't remotely concerned about the neighbors and told my son to deal with it. Now, to describe my neighborhood, it is mostly elderly people who built their homes in the late 1980s. Many of us are still there, putting us in our 70s and 80s. We spend a lot of time at home, and we just want our peace and quiet. Now, I'm aware of 415 PC and a misdemeanor charge of disturbing the peace, but I was hoping not to have to go that route. So I accessed the Yuba City Muni Code in hopes of finding a solution. Lo and behold, I located section 4-17.10 lowercase d, enumeration. Problem solved, I thought. It reads, the following specific acts subject to the exemptions provided in section 417.20 are declared public nuisances in violation of sections 417.22 and 417.30, namely D, the loud and raucous use of any drum, guitar, horn, or other musical instrument or device. Section 417.20 does not have any exclusions that apply. I have printed copies of that for you, so that would be easy for you to see from your website. With this knowledge in hand, I contacted code enforcement several times, the police department more than once, and the property owner. The property owner has given all of us the same rhetoric, that he's contemplating soundproofing the garage, building a cage of sorts around the drums, buying a new quieter drumstick, and on and on. In 12 months, none of these things have happened. In the months since speaking with code enforcement and Yuba City PD, with no interest by either department in doing their job, I began the laborious process of attempting to solve what I felt was being blamed on me as my problem. I once had a boss who told me to come to him with an answer, not just a problem. So again, I did my research. I know there are silent drums that only the drummer can hear, as my nephew has them. My son presented that to the property owner as an option, as well as quieter drumsticks and soundproofing. But all of this has been to no avail. In speaking several times with Boone at Code Enforcement, we began with him telling us that he heard the noise and it was definitely way too loud. He also spoke with the property owner and then to his own supervisor, at which time all progress stopped. And Boone then saying they don't have a decibel meter to calculate the sound. I bought one. Well, there is nothing in the Muni Code stating a decibel reading is needed. It just says raucous noise. I realized I had now hit a dead end with code enforcement. Being the problem solver that I try to be and hearing my old chief in my head, I began attempting to solve my problem. My son has autism and this banging causes him great distress. He says he even with his headset on, he can feel the banging in his chest. A resident on Whitney Drive explained the exact same scenario, that he can feel the pounding in his chest and he's in his 80s. So spending money I don't have, I began in my son's room with new heavy drapes. That didn't work. I'm gonna cut to the chase here. I lined my garage door with insulation, hoping that would help, but the banging is only a few feet away and invades every inch of my home. So that didn't work either. I have been diagnosed with and am being treated for PTSD. My home should be my sanctuary and the place I can go for peace, comfort, and safety. Unfortunately, I now have to leave my home to get away from the repetitive, angry thumping. As a 70-year-old retiree, I and my mostly elderly neighbors should not have to deal with this banging, which occurs randomly multiple times every single day. And this is just in the last 30 days. As an example, it lasted for 3 hours on Halloween. We are being denied the ability to use our yards, have our doors or windows open on a cool fall day, and even be able to escape into our homes. It drowns out the birds, closes off the breeze, and denies us the ability to have a cup of coffee or a meal outside. I haven't even mentioned our property values. That is a topic all on its own. Do I need to stop?
The timer's finished, but if you could just wrap up shortly here, we'll be good.
I'm almost done. In addition, I have now spent money on a decibel meter in an effort to do what Lieutenant Santana at Yuba City Police Department said they don't have the ability to do, to record the noise level. The banging is at 76 decibels, and I did a printout for you on what 76 decibels does. The Muni Code does not mention decibels. It doesn't mention times. It just says drumming. So for me, that means 24 hours a day. Now having done what I didn't want to do, I've gone door to door. I've not I've spoken to so many people that I didn't know before, and I now have 6 to 7 homes, which you also have a map of showing where they are, that are also being disturbed because they work at night and they're losing sleep, or they're feeling this pounding in their chest, or they just can't enjoy their home, as what Kathy is going through. One 80-year-old lady wants to sell her home and move to a retirement community. She's concerned about her property value, as we all should be. Would any of you like to buy her home? I am now asking for your assistance in enforcing the laws and muni codes that were written by those who implemented them to maintain the quality of life for everyone in this city. So please tell me, where do we go from here? Section 417.100 is self-explanatory. Drumming is prohibited. We're reaching out to you to restore what was a nice, quiet neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight and bringing that to our attention.
We just need some help, and we've tried, and it's been a long time. It's been a year that we've been trying.
I can understand. We can't take action on things during this because it's not on the agenda.
I
but
have it on my phone if you'd like to hear it.
But no, ma'am. Thank you. Mr. Bendorf, can we just have some follow-up from the city as you see fit on this issue? I know we've dealt with other neighborhood issues, and just see what our ability is to help and what we can do. Okay? So
I don't know if she just has a 5-second.
Okay. Actually, if we'll follow procedure here, you're done. Okay. Now we'll move. If you would like to make some comments, you will have up to 3 minutes if you would like to say something.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kathy. I'm actually Tony's mother. I say that in reference for all of you who you can find me if you ever need to talk to me about that. Actually, I want to really thank you all. I love living in Yuba City. I'm a transplant here from Oregon. That's unusual. It usually goes the other way around. But I can say that with a fact. But anyhow, I agree with what she said in that it is that noise. The child has no natural talent, y'all. And our neighbor, we have a neighbor who's actually a professional drummer, I believe. If he isn't professional, he's dang near. He offered to give the kid a lesson, and he turned him down. He's not interested in learning the instrument. He just wants to make noise, and he does. There's no rhythm. I'm a music lover. If the kid had talent, I probably wouldn't be here, to be super honest with you. But it's obnoxious, y'all. This is an obnoxious thing. And the owner, the homeowner, the father, and the mother are both important people in this community. I'm not going to bust them out who they are, but they ought to be a little more concerned of how they're treating their neighbors. I ain't going to bust out who they are, but y'all might probably know. So anyhow, thank you for that. And I love y'all. I love this city. I love how you are with my boy. And I love our fire department, our police department. You know, everything Tony says, we in our family, we agree wholeheartedly. I'm happy to live here, and I would like to be a part of anything I can do to help ever. And I would like to help this gal and myself. Anyhow, thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, you've got it, Mr. Bendorf, correct? All right, thank you. We did have a speaker card turned in, and Tony, would you like to speak? You have 3 minutes, sir.
Please. Tony Fry, North City. Here to thank Jim Roon for service, Chief Police. Don't forget Sean Pavey. I miss Sean Pavey. Sean Pavey now is a colonel in the Air Force Reserve. Sean Pavey. She used to be a manager. Now she's a colonel in the Air Force. Sean Pavey. And don't forget Lieutenant Corporal over here. Lieutenant over here. Thank you for his service too. Thank you to Chief Hubbard for his service. I'm Arnold. All that. Thank you. Thank you, Sierra over there. Thank you, Tony. District 5. I'm a Tony too. Both Tonys. And don't forget Michael. He's a teacher from Honker High School. And don't forget Dave Shaw, the accountant. But I say something practicing law in Compton too. And former fire chief Mike Bugart also owned John Deere tractor dealership. John Deere. And Wade, don't forget Wade. Don't forget Robert from Yuba County. Now he's the city manager now. He's the same guy who tackled Caliber. A guy, that idiot who's now felon. And don't forget the city attorney from Fresno. And don't forget, Yuba City is part of the Sacramento Valley, so thank you to our Sacramento Valley people, Sacramento Mayor, Yuba City Mayor, and the Sacramento region. This is part of the Sacramento region. Majority School of Law, East Davis School of Law, Sacramento region. Yuba City is part of the Sacramento region. Fellow Sacramentan. And thank you for everybody for your service for Yuba City. Fire truck, police car, garbage truck parade, and just summertime. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tony. Thank you for being a part of our community, okay? Is there anyone else that would like to make any comments under public comment? Again, state your name and address for the record. Nope. Nope.
All right. Jackie Silman, 1964 Cherry Street, Yuba City. Very proud Yuba City resident. I wanted to just thank you from the Community Military Appreciation Committee. I wanted to share, this committee was formed a little over 2 years ago when Chief Bree Oliver was here with Colonel Church, who reached out to me and said, we need help with the Spouses Club. We need help with the Operation Warm Heart. We need help with our first sergeants. It wasn't that there was a lack of help from the community, they just didn't know where to go. So we formed a committee. There's 10 of us that were just that. There is no board. We're just 10 ladies at this point. We'd love to have men and want to come out and help. That's okay. So we come together and we will get a phone call. Dottie McLeese is on our committee. Emily Rary is on our committee. So we have the contacts on the inside. We know what we can and cannot do legally because of Emily, so that's our take. But recently we did do a fundraiser in Placer County because Placer County was looking at what you're doing here in Yuba City and Yuba and Sutter counties. We want to help Bill. They've never had that connection. There are airmen and families that live in Placer County. So we got together and we did a fundraiser in Placer County, raised $7,500 that night. That money, in turn, is going to go to Operation Warm Heart. So it's not just one specific thing, it's whatever the call is. And having Maria with the Foodbank, we didn't realize how important that connection was. And then now with Colonel McLeese and this Airman's Market is directly from that. And also for pride, just to make sure they know. So they'll go to that top 3 and they'll say, hey, this is what I need. My wife needs this or whatever. And they'll have funding there. So when we do come and beg you, come to our fundraiser, you'll know that's where that money goes, 100%. So just wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you. Anybody else have comments under comments, public comments? Seeing none, we are going to close public comments and we're going to move on to the consent calendar. Consent calendar, all matters listed on the consent calendar are considered to be routine and can be enacted in one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these items prior to the time that the council votes on the motion, unless members of the city council request specific items to be discussed or removed from the consent calendar for individual actions. Consent calendar 6 through, I believe it was 12, 15. Is there any public comment on consent calendar items 6 through 15? Any public comment on consent calendar items 6 through 15? Hearing none, I move back to the council for action.
The mayor?
Yes, sir.
To take action on items 6 through 15 on the consent calendar.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
And I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Those opposed say nay. I was ahead of myself. Motion carries. I was about to get swatted from over there to my right. All right, let's move on to business items. Item number 16, the ABC Alcohol Policing Partnership, the app grant program. Mr. Santana, you have the mic, sir.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, Lieutenant Dave Santana, and I'm excited to present the 25-26 ABC Alcohol Policing Partnership Grant. So the Alcohol Policing Partnership Grant is offered by the Department of Alcohol Beverage Control, or ABC, and it's in partnership with the Office of Traffic Safety. Enables law enforcement agencies to field police officers on overtime status to target alcohol sales to minor violations through the education of licensees and enforcement interventions. August of 2025, ABC in partnership with OTS awarded the Yuba City Police Department the app grant, the amount of $30,000 for the fiscal year 25-26. The grant will run from October 1st, 2025 through September 30th of 26. No matching funds are required by the city. The app grant components, they will consist of minor decoy operations, shoulder tap operations, and informed merchants preventing alcohol-related crime tendencies or impact inspections and holiday enforcement. And I'll go into a little bit more detail. Minor decoy operations are essentially sending someone who is under 21 into a facility in an attempt to purchase alcohol when they shouldn't be allowed to. So we would have officers that would go in along with someone who is a underage in an attempt to purchase that to keep these businesses held accountable. Shoulder tap operations are very similar, except that they will stay outside of a business and then request for someone to purchase alcohol for them, and obviously be underage. Informed merchant preventing alcohol-related crime tendencies or impact inspections are essentially on-site inspections of these facilities that are licensed to sell alcohol to make sure that they're staying within all of the requirement for all of their licensing through the state. And then holiday enforcement is more directed enforcement during specific holiday times to make sure that we don't have facilities that are over-serving people, and with the overall goal of keeping intoxicated people out of vehicles. Ultimately, the goal is to reduce the number of DUIs we have. The recommendation is for the Yuba City Police Department's recommendation is to accept the grant and immediately begin deploying officers to deter the illegal sales and furnishing of alcohol to minors, and thereby reducing DUI drivers that threaten our community, like I had mentioned. And the alternatives would be to not accept the grant and or direct staff to research alternatives. What I will say in the background of this is we haven't had this grant in probably 15 years. This is the first time in 15 years that we've seen this. In fact, I reviewed the last report back. After you complete a grant cycle, you report back the results. And just for a good idea, the businesses that we were focusing on in the past were the spur and the pump. So it's been a while since we've had this grant to do some enforcement. I think it'd be a great thing for our communities to keep some more accountability. Are there any questions?
Is there any questions from the council?
Through the mayor?
Yes, sir.
When you look back, because I didn't see it in the report, when you look back at your old 15 years ago, how many contacts did this make, or did you make? And what do you, and my next part of it is, what do you think this 30,000, what kind of coverage do you think you're going to get out of it, sir?
We anticipate at this point to be able to run at least 8 operations throughout the year for shoulder tap and decoy operations, which will be a little more involved. The other operations we'll be able to do more often because it's a lower threshold of planning and execution. So I do have some of the report from the 15-year-old grant, which was a bigger grant and allowed for a little more enforcement. But just for reference, it had over 105 premises visited. 3 of those premises had sold on-site, so that's a business selling to a minor. Off-site, for the off-site sale, 169 premises visited with 6 sales. And that, again, it was 15 years ago. I did reach out to the Sutter County sergeant who ran the same grant last year. And again, that's county-wide. However, Yuba City was still used within that enforcement. I'll pull that email for you. They had 12 subjects overall that were cited for selling to minors, 1 that was arrested, and then 2 subjects that were cited during general enforcement, and 6 clerks that were cited for selling. So pretty significant, and hopefully we can hopefully continue to deter that if this is happening just last year.
Good, thank you. That's it.
Any other questions from council? All right. Seeing nothing from council, the public hearing for the ABC Alcohol Policy and Partnership App Grant Program is now open. If there are any members of the public who'd like to address the council on this issues, please provide your statement via public comment and state your name and address for the record. Do we have any public comments on this item? Any public comments on this item? Hearing no comments on this issue, I'm closing the public hearing and I'm bringing it back to the council for action.
Through the mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the chief of police to accept $30,000 in grant funding from the 2025-2026 Alcohol Policy Partnership, APP program, and approve expenditure recommendations. Also B, authorize a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $30,000 to account number 2140-61450.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you, and let's get some enforcement, as you said out there, some compliance, right? So, all right, going to agenda item 17, Aquifer Storage and Recovery Well Project Phase 2. Mr. Wolf, you have the floor.
There it is. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight I have an item for award. It's the Aquifer Storage and Recovery Well Phase 2. So a little bit of background. In March of 2022, the California Department of Water Resources awarded the city about $6.325 million for a grant for aquifer storage and recovery. And what that is having a well in which you can recharge the aquifer under the water treatment plant, pump water into it in times of high level of water. And when you need the water during drought, you can pump it back out and utilize it in our system rather than just relying on surface water from the Feather River. March 22, we received the grant. In July of 23, the contract was awarded to Carollo Engineers for the well environmental design and plan specification and estimate. In June through October, we conducted phase 1 of the construction, which was the actual well drilling. And then in October of this year, council approved the plan specs and estimate to authorize bid for phase 2, which is the actual well equipping. So the bids were advertised between October 8th and November 5th. You had a base bid schedule and an alternate bid schedule. I'll explain those really quick. So you have an alternate bid schedule, which is kind of bare bones, bare minimum that's required by the grant. And what that is it would just give us the ability to inject water down into the aquifer. With that, we wouldn't have the equipment in place to actually pump the water back out. We would have to rely on another well on site at the plant. Also, there's no automation. So you're thinking our workers at the plant, they would actually have to go out to this well that's on the backside of the property and turn the pumps on to get it to work. The base bid is what we were, is kind of the all-in-one package where you're getting the well injection, you have the ability to draw the well out, or the water out of the well in times of low water years. It's all automated so they can control it from the control center at the water treatment plant. So anyway, with that, we received 7 bids. The low bid was Sibley and Reed General Engineering Contractors with a base bid of $4.9 million. When we were performing the analysis of the bids, we noticed that Sibley and Reed's proposal actually did not comply with our specifications. Our specifications state that the prime contractor, the main contractor, has to perform at least 50% of the work. Well, their bid, they proposed that one of their subcontractors would propose 52.13% of the work, giving Sibley and Reed the minority of the work in the project. Per the special provisions, we're actually not allowed to make any modifications or waivers to this. So due to it being a material term and not subject to waiver and adjustment. So with that, the city was required to deem their bid as non-responsive. With that, the second low bidder was WLM Lyle's company. We reviewed their bids, determined that their bids were both responsive and responsible. So as I mentioned before, there are kind of 2 options with the award. We could either just award the base bid schedule, which is the recommended option. It gives us everything that is needed operationally, or we could reject the base bid schedule and award the alternate bid schedule, which is just the bare bones for injection, does not allow for drawing from the well. With that, this is a pretty complex project, and as such, we'll be needing construction management and inspection services. The city staff recommends utilizing ICM. We've utilized them on pretty complex infrastructure or utility infrastructure projects for us in the past. They'll allow they will manage the project such that it meets the standards by DWR. They'll have really good record keeping, and they are very good at working with the contractors on change orders and making sure that we are in the best hands possible. Also, being a state project, there are labor compliance items that need to be addressed. There are certain things like prevailing wage and other items that necessitate basically a full-time person to be checking wages, certain forms on a weekly basis. We recommend utilizing Solace Group. We've used them on multiple state and federal grants for the city. And with that, they would provide us services such that we're in compliance with the grant. In terms of funding, the construction contract that we're recommending is $5.3 million with a 10% construction contingency. Additionally, the construction management and inspection cost was about $230,000, labor compliance about $47,000, and project administration for staff time about $60,000. So that comes to a total of $6.172 million. Currently in the project capital improvement account, we have $3.8 million available and about $537,000 available of the DWR grants. So the actual available amount that we have right now is about $4.3 million, creating a $1.9 million shortfall. After review of the capital improvement budget, we noted that there are a few sources we could draw from that aren't currently being utilized. First being the unallocated water reserve fund. There's about $1.3 million or $1.33 million available there. We recommend pulling $325,000 from that account. There's the capitalization fund that has $775,000 available. We recommend pulling $575,000 from that account. And then lastly, we have the water treatment plant instrumentation and electrical improvements account, which has about $4.3 million available, and we request to pull $1 million from that account. As far as environmental goes, the Seekwood document was created. The initial study mitigated negative declaration. It was posted for public comment on December 17th. The Central Valley Regional Water Control Board comment, and no revisions were needed. And I apologize for this last part. That was a lot of words. But essentially what staff recommends is rejecting the bid from Sybil & Reed as non-responsive, awarding a construction contract to WM Lyles Company of Rockland, California in their bid amount of $5,304,500, and authorizing the city manager to execute the contract on behalf of the city, awarding a professional services agreement to ICM Group of Folsom, California in the amount of $229,937, awarding a professional services agreement to Solace Group for labor compliance services in the amount of $47,300, and then authorizing the finance director to make supplemental appropriations and budget transfers totaling up to $1.9 million from unallocated water funds, CIP account 971098 and CIP account 971224 to 971320. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Is there any questions for Mr. Wolf from the council? All right, hearing none. Is there any comments from the public? Any comments from the public? Hearing none, I will bring it back to the council for action, and whatever your bidding is, whether we hand them individually, full, we don't have to read them all. We can do.
Through the mayor, please don't read them all.
Exactly. That's why I said that.
Motion to approve. That's all you need to say for so inclined. Thank you.
Through the mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a second. Should I dare ask what we're approving? No, I'm kidding. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Mr. Wolf, let's get it built.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, moving on to agenda item 18, Utilities Department vacancy staffing request, wastewater collections maintenance worker 1-2. Mr. Marler, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, City Council. We recently had a long-term employee retire after 30 years of service with the Wastewater Collections Division. And we would like to fill the vacancy with a wastewater collections maintenance worker 1-2. This position is essential to maintain the city's wastewater infrastructure and ensuring compliance with regulatory standards. The wastewater collection maintenance worker performs a variety of skilled and semi-skilled labor to repair, repair, maintenance, inspect, and construct sewer mains and collection system assets. Filling this position is critical to maintain adequate staffing levels, support operational efficiency, and ensuring the continued protection of the public health, the safety, and reliable operation of the city's collection system. So with that, I would take any questions you might have.
Perfect. Any questions from the council? All right, seeing none. Any comments from the public? Any comments from the public? All right, bring it back to the council for action.
Through the mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the interim human resource director to fill the vacancy for a full-time permanent wastewater collections maintenance worker 1/2 in the utilities department.
I have a motion to have a second. I'll second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Good work, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Moving to agenda item 19. Development Services Classification Updates. Ms. Rowland, you have the floor.
Good evening, Council. Gina Rowland, Interim Human Resources Director. In 2021, the city created a development liaison position to support businesses and developers through the planning process and to serve as the city's representative in partnerships with local businesses and regional government organizations. In November 2024, that position was reclassified to a development manager to reflect the increased responsibility for developing, planning, coordinating, and managing the city's economic development program and initiatives regarding business assistance, attraction, retention, and expansion. So at that time, the former development liaison position was deleted when the new development manager class was created. So the development manager position was vacated in March of this year, and it's remained vacant since that time. The Development Services Department budget for fiscal year 25-26 continues to include funding for a full-time development manager, as business-friendly remains a strategic goal of the City Council. So this recommended action is requesting that we reestablish the business development liaison class at the same salary as it was last November when it was deleted. Actually, it was previously, development liaison, and we're requesting to change the title to business development liaison. And we're also recommending to change the title of development manager to business development manager. There's no fiscal impact associated with the title changes for these positions. And Human Resources recommends that the council approve a recruitment, giving the department the flexibility to recruit and fill the full-time business development manager authorized position with a regular full-time appointment at either the business development liaison or the business development manager level. If the position were underfilled with a liaison, since it's budgeted at the development manager level, it could result in a salary savings of about $13,000 for the remainder of this fiscal year, but it would depend on the qualifications of the individuals who apply for the position. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and the Director of Development Services is available to answer questions also if you have any.
Any questions or comments from the council? Okay. Gina, thank you for bringing this forward tonight. I want to give a little bit more background just kind of as far as where we're looking to go as a city. Because first of all, I think this is a great move. I know that when the vice mayor and myself came on and we talked about this and we got that person in to help the businesses, it made a tremendous impact. We've gone through a lot of things over the past several years, 7 years that I know the vice mayor and myself have been here, to where we've had city not growing, the city's growing, and we got to get really laser focused because we're growing bedrooms and we need to grow businesses as well. But part of what we've heard over and over from our residents is, and people are, why come to Yuba City? What is there to do in Yuba City? You know, what are those things that draw people to Yuba City? And we've been charged as a council to really look forward. So, you know, not just for the next 12 months, but for decades, you know, of where we're going to be in the future. And things that we've been having discussions on and our city manager has been working on, and we really appreciate it. He brought forward to us about engaging with a firm, Perkins Eastman, and community partners in the coming months, not only to look at Yuba City and look at where we're going to put housing, but look at Yuba City, I would almost call it through the lens of, you know, Walt Disney, you know, the Imagineers. How can we imagine Yuba City and the best use of land and the futures? How can we get those businesses to come to Yuba City, like was just announced by Hard Rock a couple of months ago with what they're going to envision out there? How do we get that overlay here? So in the upcoming months, I know that those are going to be things that we're going to be looking at as a council with our city manager to see, you know, what Yuba City in the future is going to look like. And that's why reestablishing this position, I think, is we have to do it. There's no way out, because we have to not only build homes and attract homes, but we want people to stay here, entertain here, dine here, spend money here, you know, be able to do everything in their community and not let those dollars and those people sift out of our community down to the Sacramento region. So it's very important. Is there anything else you want to add to that, Mr. Bendorf, or did I kind of hit that, what you and I have talked about?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I think you hit all the right points, but I would tell you that for the entire city council, I think you've taken that several few first steps, and that's making sure we sort of reimagine, you know, the environment that we're in, and to see what's possible and the opportunities that we can provide not only to our existing businesses, our existing residents, but future residents and visitors to Yuba City. And I am really excited because I think the energy that your council has put into being future focused is so well received. I know by staff and several others, they see your strategic planning efforts focused on economic development and the future of Yuba City. Again, not measurable by months, weeks, or even a year or two, but by decades and what we're going to look like. I'm even more so excited with the leadership team you have and working closely with Doug. He has some tremendous ideas, as well as your entire leadership staff of what would be needed and how we would go about starting the process to make sure we do something a little bit more than just hire an economic development coordinator, but really focus on available land and where Yuba City can actually be a partner in helping some of these property owners get to that next step of what they want it to be, and that it's in line with hopefully what can provide opportunity to Yuba City residents. So I'm really excited with the work. Hopefully we'll start here within the next couple, 3 weeks. And I'm really more excited to see what some of those potential outcomes will be. So this position will help us do that. And I really want to say thank you to the council and thank you to the leadership team. And to be honest with you, I was really inspired by the discussions I had with all of the city employees a couple months after I first started, and how their energy is so focused on making Yuba City a better tomorrow than it is today. And I'm energized by it, and I'm excited to start this and work on it on behalf of the council and the residents here.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments from the council? All right. Is there any public comment on this item? Any public comment on this item? Bring it back to the council for action.
Through the mayor.
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve staff's recommendations for items 19.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. Going on to agenda item 20, Merriment Village, the supplemental loan agreement. Mr. Libby, you have the podium, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Okay, for this item, we are asking you to consider a supplemental loan agreement between the city and Habitat for Humanity. And when we say loan agreement, what we really mean in loan, it's not really a loan. It's really use of the state housing, the home key grant funds. So a little background. The city received with Habitat the grant awarded $24.6 million for the Merriment project. $22.6 million could go to construction. The remaining amount is used for operating expenses. I wanted to emphasize the interest accrued to date. As of October 31st, the grant funds we've been holding have accrued just over $1 million in interest. So it was in July of 2024 that the city entered into a covenant and loan agreement for phase 1 for Merriment Village. That was a document that's actually recorded. Think of that as an agreement at the 10,000 foot level. We knew that it was going to have to come down to ground level and we were going to have to get into the weeds on a few things. You might remember a couple months back, we brought forward the Merriment project to have the city council reapprove it to change the CEQA exemption and update a project condition. So what's in this supplemental loan agreement? Well, it's necessary to actually implement the covenant and loan agreement that was recorded last year. It defines conditions for the city to disperse the grant funding by an outside third-party city-approved disbursement control agent that will be paid for by Habitat for Humanity. It requires disbursements to first occur from accumulated interest. It defines insurance requirements, representation, warranties, and hazardous materials disclosure. Also defines Habitat's responsibilities include how they're to reflect the expenses incurred, reporting requirements, and the agreement addresses circumstances in the unlikely event of default and remedies. So the fiscal impact, because we're talking about the grant state home key grant funding, this is not general fund dollars. So there's not a fiscal impact to the city. Habitat will pay the cost of the third-party construction disbursement control company, that's a mouthful, to ensure that the construction is completed in accordance with the plans and prior to distribution of grant funds. Wanted to touch on the funding gap that the project has had, approximately $5 million. Habitat is securing a line of credit from Five Star Bank, and it's secured by Habitat's assets, not including the Merriment Village property. Staff does not see any alternatives for this one because the agreement is actually necessary to implement our previously recorded covenant and loan agreement. So our recommendation is to authorize the mayor of the city of Yuba City to sign the supplemental loan agreement between the city and Habitat governing the disbursement of grant funds for phase 1 79-unit Merriment Village apartment project after a detailed construction budget is provided for Exhibit C, which is subject to approval as to form by the city attorney. Now, I'm here to answer questions. I just wanted to give some thanks to the city attorney's office because although I work closely with the Habitat team, it's really the city attorney's office did all the heavy lifting for crafting this agreement that's before you tonight. So I wanted to give them thanks and note that the team from Habitat is here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Libby. Is there any comments or questions from Vice Mayor?
Sure. Excuse me. I would like to echo the thanks to you, Mr. Libby, to your staff, to Mr. Schaffman and his staff, to the interim city manager, and all those who have been involved with nudging this project along. I think that it seems like we're getting very close to maybe a shovel in the dirt. I would respectfully request through the mayor that if we have the ceremony that former Mayor Sean Harris be invited. He was instrumental in the beginning of this project, and I'm really, really looking forward to coming out of the ground with this thing. And John and your team especially, thanks for your patience. And to Hilbers, thank you as well.
All right. Any other comments from the council? Mr. Libby, I would just echo what the Vice Mayor said. And your stewardship through these last final steps have been greatly noticed. And we would not be sitting here tonight if it wasn't for your diligence and your stewardship. So thank you.
Thank you. It has been a team effort and just happy to be here.
So is any public comment on this?
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I would only add humble Doug over there, I think is great job getting to this point, and great job doesn't even really describe the work that was undertaken and the representation for Yuba City by Doug and all the other staff too, but working with Habitat and Hilbers, I got to tell you, I know we're right at that finish line, and I'm not going to miss the 10 to 15 emails a day. I am really not. But I'm going to keep them all, and just read them every once in a while for old time's sake. But excellent job by everyone.
We can request that the council members send you 2 a day. That'll replace them. All right. Any other public comments? Hearing none, let's bring it back to the council for action.
Through the mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I move to authorize the mayor of the city of Yuba City, to sign a supplemental loan agreement between the city of Yuba City and Habitat for Humanity, Yuba Sutter Incorporated, governing the disbursement of grant funds for Phase 1, 79-unit Merriment Village apartment project located at 428 North Walton Avenue, Assessor's Parcel 58-120-001, after a detailed construction budget is provided for Exhibit C, which is subject to approval as to form by the city attorney.
Have a motion to have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Let's get some shovels in the ground, gentlemen. All right. Item 21, presentation of the budget recap. First quarter ended 9/30/2025. Ms. Deanna Pope, you have the floor.
Good evening. Today we are here to present the first quarter recap for the general fund. These next 2 slides will show our first quarter performance across key revenues. Property taxes are received in February and June, which is why it's showing nothing for the first quarter. Sales tax is shown through August 15th, representing 2 months of sales tax revenue. The Sutter County region is seeing an increase in the business and industry category. However, this is being offset by declines in autos and transportations, fuel and service stations, and the pool category, resulting in an overall decline in sales tax of 2.5%. Business licenses revenue is received periodically throughout the year. However, the majority is collected when we process the annual business licensing billing, with most of the revenue coming in during January and February. Franchise fees and hotel motel surcharge revenues are received quarterly, with the first quarter payment in October. These will be reflected in the mid-year recap. The building permits, GIS technology, and encroachment permits appear to exceed the 25% mark for the first quarter. Doug will address the reasons for this later in the presentation. The next 2 slides show how departments are performing in the first quarter. These numbers do not include the UAL because that is a $7.4 million payment made in the first quarter. Most departments are currently spending under 25% of their annual budget, though some major costs may not have occurred yet this early in the year. This is a slide that's continued from the previous, and the overall general fund is approximately at 19% of the budget. This slide shows the budget a little bit differently, and it's by the expenditure type. Salaries and benefits are currently at 21% of the total budget for the first quarter. If this trend continues, we may see some budget savings in this category. The other 2 categories are also showing below budget for the quarter, but this could be due to the timing of expenditures, as some costs may not have occurred yet. And now it's Doug.
You only got rid of me for a moment. Okay, so for development services, yeah, we saw a bump in our residential permitting in quarter 1. That was obviously really good to see. I talked with a number of our home builders ahead of this meeting, and what I'm hearing from them is that one of them says things are steady. Others have said things are definitely slowing down. They are really hoping for a couple more rate cuts. For them, they think, rates are everything. It's the key. They're saying that, if they saw rates back, it's kind of been stagnant in the 6 to 7% range for a while now. They're hoping it's going to get back into the 5s. However, D.R. Horton, they're continuing to build out the harder subdivisions. They've actually closed on about 96 or so homes. They're even proceeding with the West Sanborn subdivision. So that's 95 additional lots in Southwest Yuba City. LGI Homes, new to our community, they're moving forward. They're submitting master plans for Chima Ranch. It's also just north of West Sanborn for 82 lots. And KHOV Homes Aspire Sycamore continues build out with 82 lots, and Henson Ranch is also a continuing build out. Now, the first half of this calendar year, we actually saw some pretty, I'll say, low commercial development going on, but we're seeing a bump in that in the second half. I'm kind of interested to see how that plays out. Some of that could be attributed to them trying to get ahead of the new state building code that takes effect January 1, so that's definitely part of it. We may see a slight increase in permitting for solar and battery energy systems because the 30% tax credit going away at the end of this calendar year. I think that will be kind of less of a bump. I really think I'm waiting to see how this commercial permitting pans out for the rest of this year. So that would conclude my comments, unless you have any questions, or I would hand it over to the police chief.
Good evening. Deanna was nice enough to cover the numbers for my department, so I just want to touch just a little bit on kind of where we're at through our incident-based reporting system and what our crime kind of looks like in the city, basically year to date, what we call the first 3 quarters, and comparing that to 2024, which kind of gives you an idea. So we break them down into 3 categories: persons, property, and society. I think the first 2 are obvious. Society kind of really, it's talking about drugs, things like that. So good things is decrease on the first 2, persons and property. As you can see, 9 and 13% respectively. Large increase in society, but that was down to 2 categories, and specifically it was drugs and drug paraphernalia charges, which I think I had mentioned it to you previously that with the passage of Prop 36, those are much more penalties. Things are being enforced, has made a difference in our arrests for those categories. So that's really what that correlation is to. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, even though talking about an increase in crime, but it's us making more arrests and hopefully knocking down the problem a little bit. So that's it.
I have a question. So that lower number obviously is a big increase. With those arrests, I'm assuming, right? Are we able to prosecute?
Yeah, so, well, and you got to remember, Prop 36 is a little unique in that it didn't go back to the way things used to be. There's kind of tiered level of things like possession of methamphetamine as an example. It's not automatically a felony. It just depends on priors, thefts as well. It depends on priors, what it gets enforced at this go round. But I can't speak to what, what's playing out in the courts. Me and the district attorney are starting to meet kind of every on a couple month basis to go over our cases and see progress on these things and see, are we getting these things prosecuted? Because the low level offenses, as you know, do have an impact on us, especially those low level like drug offenses are directly related to some of our societal problems. So we want to make sure that we're not wasting our efforts in enforcing these actions.
That was my concern is, we're doing our part, but accountability.
Correct. Absolutely.
Appreciate.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I don't know why they have me in this lineup. I have no idea. So they said I had to say something, so something. I really want to thank Deanna and her team for putting this together. Granted, listen, I know we're in November, first quarter ends end of September, but there are a lot of steps that we need to take to make sure we round out that quarter and make sure we get accurate data to put in these summary slides for you. But I think all of the data here tells a story about impacts we're having, and but also how we continue to work a little bit more effectively where we can. And not to dismiss, we don't talk about it here, but don't want to be dismissive of the structural deficit that we're facing. But I think what you heard earlier, you think, oh, geez, there's been authorization to fill a position, or we're retooling some of our economic development approaches. And I would tell you, some may say that, geez, you're spending this money during a really tough time. Why aren't you metering that out a little bit better or putting a cork in it somehow? I would tell you this is the time to press on the accelerator. We don't want to be in a position, a disadvantageous position, a year or two from now. We have to be ready for if the economy does start kicking up a notch, whether they're policies or proper funding or having that roadmap completed. And again, your council is already doing that by putting some really good steps in place to make sure we are ready for that next phase for Yuba City. While somewhat frustrating, sometimes we see these wins of how we accomplish the work with less resources in the city, and chances are we might have less come this next budget year. And a good chance we might have less this next budget year. But not to all of our doing either. And I recognize, again, as I mentioned, the deficit we have. But if you look at what comes out of Sacramento, there were two bills recently, one Assembly bill and one Senate bill that came out that requires advanced notification for certain contracts that we issue. And the work that puts on staff to have that done so far in advance, and then the posting of it and all those extra steps really takes a lot of time. And then additional training requirements that we have to administer, and then we have to make a separate place on our website to disclose training requirements now for public officials. And I understand the intent, but I think what a lot of folks don't understand is the impact that it has on our workload here. I mean, there are thousands of pieces of legislation that come out of Sacramento every year, and they impact us. Even if those think that the redistricting of congressional districts might not have an impact, it is going to have an impact. And when you're used to working with a certain member, certain representative that can achieve maybe certain things, grant funds, et cetera, that may take a different, maybe different in the near future. But we don't know that, but it can be very challenging, I think, for jurisdictions. So all of those things that we hear happening every day do have an impact on how we provide services here in the city. So I think some of the next steps is the mayor had mentioned, and with Perkins Eastman and that economic development effort, we're really excited to get that underway, especially with the development liaison or development manager position, her business development manager or liaison, and then also the partnerships with private sector. It's time we kick that up, so we're ready. And we are doing that. We heard your direction loud and clear from the council. And then, again, I really I love the work that your staff does here. And I'm fortunate to get to work with them every day because they are really preparing themselves in this city well for what's around the corner. And we want to be ahead of the curve. So these steps that we're taking, it's a pleasure delivering this information to you. And you'll get more information when we do our mid-year as well. But I just wanted to say thanks for indulging us, and really thanks to all the staff for the work that they're doing under not easy circumstances. Thank you. Anything else, Deanna?
All right. Any questions from the council? On behalf of the council, thank you guys for all the hard work you're doing. I know that we're all on this ship together, and we will get through this. And we notice everything that you guys are doing. And thank you on behalf of all 5 of us up here. Thank you for your dedication and your work. All right, let's move to agenda item 22, which is the city council meeting calendar. And that's our city clerk, Sarah Wakefield.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. We've saved the best for last. 2026 Council Calendar. So as you know, City Council meetings traditionally are held the first and third Tuesdays of the month at 6 p.m. And 2026, I propose, will be no different. We would continue with the first and third Tuesdays for our regular council meetings, with just a couple of exceptions that I'd like to call out here for your consideration. Recommended changes, first and foremost, would be to cancel the regular meeting scheduled for January 6th. Typically, we do have a holiday closure around the Christmas holiday, and most staff is out of the office during the period where we would be preparing staff reports. So in past years, we have canceled that first meeting in January, but again, that is at your discretion. If you feel that you'd like to do that again, please let me know. I wanted to call out that the mid-year budget review will occur as part of our regular meeting on February 3rd. That won't be a special meeting, but will be incorporated into our regular meeting on that first Tuesday. And then, as per usual, we will plan for a budget study session at the end of May, in this case, May 26th, which is the Tuesday following Memorial Day. All of that being said, we do, even if we set this calendar and everybody agrees today, we do have some flexibility. Things change, priorities evolve, and we may need to add additional special workshops or things along the way. So just know that we do have that flexibility, but these are just some things that we wanted to call out that we know about currently. Something else to consider for 2026 is Cap to Cap. I know many of you travel to attend the Cap to Cap event in Washington, D.C. That event is happening during that third week of April this year. And that would mean, if, depending on how many members of the council went, that could potentially create some challenges with a quorum here on that April 21st date. So not something we necessarily have to know in this moment, but something to consider for the future. And if you already do have direction, then I would be happy to move forward with that today. But at this moment, I wanted to just bring this calendar to the council for consideration so that we can start planning for 2026. As I mentioned, we don't have any other holiday conflicts on the first or third Tuesdays. So with those few exceptions that I mentioned, I would recommend that we move forward with the 2026 calendar as proposed. And if you do have direction at this point regarding April 21st, I would love to hear your thoughts. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Sierra, if I can just interject something here before I go out to the council. As you mentioned, we have the flexibility of canceling meetings or adding additional ones except regular ones. And as you saw tonight, we've got different things in the pipeline with Merriment and everything else. The government shutdown is only scheduled to be open again till the end of January. It's easier to cancel a meeting than try to reschedule one. So I think it would be in our best interest to go ahead and leave January 6th as a regularly scheduled one. And if we don't need it, we can just cancel it. And that makes it easy. And then for April, I think we reevaluate as we do every year and not knowing how many is going. That would be my recommendation. And so I open it up to the council now. I agree. Okay. Well then, is there any public comments on the council's calendar? You want to see us here every week next year? Just asking.
I have a real quick question though. National Night Out. Are we going to do it in August? Last year, there was that confusion. The prior year, we said we weren't going to do it on the National Night Out, then we did. I noticed August 6th or whatever. I can't see that.
August 4th.
Thank you very much for that help.
Yep.
I'm a year older. In a day. Anyway. That would be the only other one that I would say that, if we're going to participate in that as a city, then obviously we're committed to participate as council, so.
We can follow the same suit. If we don't need it, we can always cancel it. So, okay. Any other discussion from the public? I'm glad you guys don't want us here every week next year. All right, bringing it back to the council for action. And since I was the one that did that, I'll move that we adopt the regular city council meeting for 2026 calendar and reinstate and hold the January 6th in case we need it.
Second.
And through the mayor, as part of the adoption of the regular calendar, I just want to make clear for the record that includes special session or closed sessions that may be called before the regular meeting or at an earlier time. Thank you.
Yep. All right, I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. We have our calendar. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to future agenda items. Is anything from the council that we want to have brought forward? All right. City manager's report.
I spoke enough. I did want to mention just a couple of things. Obviously, we have the tree lighting and dedication for Tower Park coming up on December the 9th, and Mayor, to let you talk a little bit more about that, but tomorrow night. I'm thinking of the potential Merriment groundbreaking,
Right.
which December 9th, I take that back. Yeah, it's tomorrow night. So also, I wanted to mention that this will be, I won't be here for the first meeting in December. I'll be out of town, but Doug will be. And I would ask that Mr. Livy sit in for me. So please load up the agenda as you see fit. And all of our controversial items. Doug said he's more than happy to learn.
Let the games begin.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. We'll come to the council and let's just mix it up. Councilmember Pasquale.
Thank you, Mayor. Attended my air quality control policy and budget committee meeting. The air quality control is going along fine. They're within their budget and actually making some money. Attended Sabufka for the absence of the mayor. Our distinguished vice mayor is the chairman of that, so he'll probably have more to say on it than I do. Also, the Gil Sizer, attended that. Went to the summit for the homeless, and what struck me the most of anything was the youth advisory board and those young people, that how people's parents' bad choices or limited choices affects those that they're supposedly protecting. That was very sobering. Just a shout out that Yuba College basketball has started, and they have got a really good team. And I think we should go deep into the state again with that. Attended the vet parade, which with Councilmember Kirchner and Cole and Bloomgarden. Was very well attended. I thought was in the 3 years that I've been in it, that was probably the largest crowd that I had ever seen. It was very, very well attended, which was nice to see. Also, shout out for the holiday parade coming up, or whatever they call it, where we go around in the quadrants.
Truck parade.
Truck parade. I will be attending on Thursday night and Sunday night as a special guest. With that, I conclude my report.
Sounds good. Councilmember Kirchner.
Thank you, Mayor. Gil Sizer, the only action item was a increase the compensation of $7,500 to a total compensation of $2,750 to develop a financial management plan for the Gil Sizer County Drainage District. Regional Water Authority, moving forward towards next year on updating the strategic plan, is a little timely about what we discussed today with the Aquifer. Something that was said in the meeting, and it knocked me out of my chair, was the prediction from the Regional Water Authority that by mid-century, the Sierra Mountain snowpack will be 2/3 gone, and by the end of the century, it'll be completely gone. And that's a pretty bold statement, but they said it. So, yeah. We went along with an election with a chair and a vice chair with Mosquito. We moved to purchase 2 half-ton pickup trucks. We kept that money locally. I'd like to give a shout out to the city for the new sign on 99 that was installed today. Is that right? It's looking sharp. Thank you for that. And I'm missing something. Hold on a sec. The homelessness summit was mentioned before. Oh, lastly, the government school liaison met. It keeps getting canceled because of different circumstances, but really the only thing that's going on with the, you probably noticed that pretty much all the schools are putting in solar arrays. The price tag on that overall, so it's about 15 campuses, was $30 million. And with that, hope to see everyone at the ribbon cutting tomorrow and have a happy Thanksgiving.
All right, Councilmember Cole.
Thank you. I'll keep it short and sweet. I had the honor and privilege of driving the River Valley Falcons resource vehicle, and Mark was my passenger. His brace is not the result of my driving. I think I did pretty good, but I would echo what Mike said, and it was just so great to see, especially the young faces along the street. There was a lot of children there and dressed patriotically. It was just wonderful to be able to seeing everything from the inside out instead of the other way around. I go to that parade every year, and it's really excellent. And also, happy Thanksgiving. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Hosted an unmet transit needs meeting for SACOG, and the big discussion was increased availability of buses in Wheeland. So there wasn't anything that came directly to Yuba City. At the SACOG Transportation Committee meeting, this one's interesting. We have a regional trails program, about 1,000 miles, I guess, of trails in the Sacramento region. Yuba City is a participant in that, in as much as we have the Union Pacific railway area and the connection that I think inevitably everybody wants to see between Sutter County and Yuba County. And the purpose of the meeting, and this is where it gets interesting with 31 separate agencies in there, was how are we going to govern this thing? And part of that was how do you get money, but how do you keep consistency amongst the trail, et cetera, et cetera. So this one will be an interesting one over the next year, just because you have a lot of different interests. The Homeless Consortium Summit, I already mentioned that, very well done, very good information. It does seem like the needle's moving in the right direction, and I hope we can continue to do that. On the Veterans Parade, yes, it was proven very well that Councilmember Cole can drive an emergency response vehicle. And I thank the police department for pulling the fuses on the siren and the PA, because then Wade couldn't talk on the PA system. So thank you for that. But, again, Marysville does parades very well. Kudos to them for how they handled that. At Sabufka, Sutter Butte's Flood Control Agency, the big thing here is we refinanced some bonds. I know we're looking at doing some of that with the city as well. There's pretty significant savings just due to the economy. I also attended an active transportation meeting. Mr. Wolf was there at the Sutter Theater. Interesting, again, going back to bike trails. And as far as the new sign goes, let's just make sure we hit the hell out of that thing on social media so that guy that beats us up all the time about not having a city sign can finally be quiet. And we don't have to listen to him. And I wish everybody a very happy and safe Thanksgiving. Thanks.
All right, I will keep mine very, very short. Had the RWMA meeting. We had rescheduled the meeting, and we extended the contract for R3. And the focus this next year is on developing and looking for that executive director. We do have the Tower Plaza ribbon cutting tomorrow night, and we're going to go ahead and light the Christmas tree. For those of you that are Ebenezer Scrooge and Bah Humbug, stay home. If you like Christmas and like a park, come out and join us. It's open to everyone. And then as the city manager said, we're talking around the 9th of December for Merriment Village. Looking forward to that and getting those shovels into the ground. And just so let the vice mayor know and everybody else know, I've already been in contact with Sean, and he's been made available. We're trying to get him to be at all of these because he was definitely a part of all of this. So looking forward to that. Everyone have a wonderful, safe Thanksgiving. Lots of turkey and football and Christmas holidays ahead. Anything else come before us tonight? Nope, then we stand adjourned.